but there are some people in the media who are, I think well-intentioned, who think, hey, I'm excited about this push towards electrification or autonomy or both, and they become kind of so full, kind of whole hum that the underlying objective of we want to reduce emissions and clean up transportation becomes secondary to I want to push electric or I want to push autonomous vehicles. And for the most part, those are aligned, but they're not perfectly aligned. So I guess the question is, how do you try to, is that something you think about? And if so, how do you try to find the balance of kind of making sure you're checking the North Star as you go and adjusting as new information comes out?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and it's one of the advantages of running my own business. This is my first this is my first company that I've started and founded and run. I've run businesses for corporations before, but when it's your own shop, it's a lot easier to just be constantly thinking, well, I'm here because of this. And in fact, we've been doing some strategic planning recently as a team, and we've got a set of 4 criteria, actually now 5 criteria, that we're assessing new projects against. And the first one is what project is going to have the biggest impact on advancing the transition. So we build it in and just make sure it's in our core in that way, in terms of like what do we do, because otherwise there's not much point. And I'm not at the, I mean, we need to make money and we need to be profitable as a business, because then obviously you can keep doing it. And that's one of the criteria, is what can we do profitably and to a level of excellence. But I think if it's not helping the transition, then kind of like, well, why are we doing it? I mean, maybe we might do something because it's fun, but I think just doing something for profit alone just gets miserable very quickly.
Yes.
That's been my experience in life anyway.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I mean, and maybe this ties into the other part of the question. The Canada part's interesting as well. So I think, like, if I were designing a media company and I simply, I wanted to focus around electric and autonomous technology, I'm excited about this technology. I wanted to put, I mean, the low-hanging fruit is just talk about Tesla, right? Or talk about the companies people are clicking on. You get the clicks from whatever, it's the CEO who's saying things, or you can write these kind of scandalous type stories. And you guys, it seems like for the most part I mean, it's right in the name, but then also in the content, you're focusing on, technology that's developed and being deployed in Canada. So what went into kind of right off the bat, very clearly setting this demarcation?
Yeah, well, it was it's a really insightful comment, because that at the heart of that is if we're launching a business, it needs to be different and differentiated. And I'm somebody who's loved all the media that reports on the Teslas and all the other vehicles. I love all that content, and I read all that stuff. And in my mind, we didn't need more of it. So if I launched something that did that, it wasn't going to help. And so for me, the barrier to the transition wasn't the technology, because I think the technology, it's already been shown, as I mentioned with that movie, the technology has been kind of there in varying levels for a long time now, but is now rapidly, obviously, advancing. And so for me, the technology wasn't the barrier. It was the desire to adopt this technology and be a leader in it. So I'm British by birth, but I've lived in very happily and I'm proud Canadian now for 14 years. And Canada has the potential to lead in this transition. And in my mind, the areas that I felt would have the biggest impact on it was on the policy side and on the business and economic side and social side of this transition. So that's why we write more about issues affecting those areas than we do about the technology in the vehicles per se. And so that's our focus. The Canadian market really focused on the economic, social, and policy side of it.